finally found something that sharpens hoof knives. Okay, you see the end of that? That's a sharpening stone. It's not like a raspy grinder wheel. It's a sharpening stone, and I'm going to tell you, this thing works awesome. No more dull hoof knives. I'm just going to go through kind of a deal on hoof structure of this capsule here and of the inner foot, so that you get more of an understanding of how this container fits on that foot. And then we're going to get right into the mapping system that I put together. What I have found out. Here it was about a year ago. I started one day, I was just kind of standing there, and I thought, I think I'll take all of these little things that I have learned, and I'll just put it into one system of mapping. And so I started taking everything and putting it down, and I started applying it every single time I trimmed. It started teaching me. It was, I don't know how to explain it, but when you when you do the whole system, every time you apply it to a foot, it's going to teach you something about that horse's foot, and it's going to teach you something about anatomy. So the way this class will be run is I'm going to go through each step of the mapping, exactly what I do, and then I'm going to tell you why I do it, why it's done a specific and a certain way, because as you learn that, you'll learn the anatomy, and you'll learn how this hoof capsule is supposed to fit on that inner foot, and how when it doesn't fit correctly, see, if these horn tubules aren't lined up correctly with the lamina of the inner foot, and everything's just so-so, it changes the whole weight-bearing equilibrium of this capsule against that inner foot. And it's like pulling your fingernail off. That's the effect it has. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do in that class. And like I said, once you learn the mapping system, it does so many neat things. One thing it did for me is it made me start trimming very consistently. Anyway, it'll make you trim very consistently. It'll get all 4 feet so they are the same size, because in truth, the horse's feet, all 4 feet are the same size. All right? The bigger ones, a lot of times when I was a kid, and even before I learned anything about horses' anatomy and feet and stuff, it used to be that their feet were always bigger in front. Like if a horse took a size 1 shoe in front, he would wear a size 0 shoe on the rears. But what I have found is their feet are the same size front and back, but it's distortion on the front feet that make them bigger. Okay, so I'm kind of doing this all, I kind of had to do this a fly-by-night kind of deal, because I'm such a perfectionist that if I didn't start this class, I would probably never get it going. So I just had to say, okay, I'm going to do this class, and now I'm forced to do it. I just have to do it, even if things aren't perfect. You know, I'll try and make some notes so I don't just repeat things over and over. But here's the thing. You need to repeat things over and over to people so that you finally get it. So I know that in my videos, and my husband, it drives him crazy when I tell him something. He just goes, okay, say it once. Just say it once. You know. So this is what the class is going to be about. And like I said, this little deal that we're doing here is just a time for people to kind of check in and see if this thing works for them. Now, I am a little disappointed because, see, this thing is going to be recorded, and this webinar server was supposed to get HD in May, and they haven't. And what I believe is that Once you get that, you're going to take what I have and you're just going to be able to increase it. And that together we can come to a perfect understanding of the horse's foot and how to properly trim that horse. Did anybody see the last post I did on Facebook? Probably didn't. Bless a few people. You know, I just got that letter today. Since I started, you know, when you go through things like this, like what I went through with Cheryl Henderson and some different things, you're kind of pressured to keep your mouth shut. Oh, see there? Pam says, I have a friend who had to put her horse down because of that trim. See, we need to collect these testimonies, and there's going to be more of them, I guarantee you, because that trim is very, very damaging. We need to collect these things because this is going all over the world. You know, that's what bad teachings are like. They're like you know, and the poor horse, you know, there was so much hope in this whole wild horse trim. And then for these women to come along and just hijack it, you know, and come in, gaining our trust, leading us into hurting their horses. And then, of course, you know, if you learn the wrong thing, you're going to teach it to others. And so I taught a lot of the bad stuff, too. You love, Rufus says, all but correct. Yeah, it's a sad, sad turn of events for the poor horse who has had to put up with so much crap from man for so many years, you know. Such a faithful friend and a faithful servant. Okay, so this little webinar we're doing here is only going to be an hour. I'll tell you what, I would take some questions. If somebody has some questions, we could do that. Is there anything specific somebody'd like to know about? Also, I want to go through every single person's horse, and we will do a video evaluation on those. Just so you know, we're gonna do that. And I think that even by just going through all the horses, would a trim, okay, Bonnie Geary asks, would a trim be different for a Morgan who toes out? Well, you know, you'd have to look at the feet to see why is he toeing out. You know, are his legs crooked? Or is it just that his feet, that he's got a medial-lateral imbalance? Because a medial-lateral imbalance will make them toe out or toe in. You know, I had a bad balance on my gilding and I had a pigeon toe. Yes, I will print some stuff out. I will have something you can print out. Her knees go out too. Well, okay, what you want to check, Bonnie, is when you pick up the leg, you know, and you're just holding it kind of loose, but the knee is bent, like wasn't planning on riding anything. Here's your horse. Here's the leg. Okay, when you pick up the leg like this, okay, and you're holding it right here. Okay, if the leg pretty much points to the back leg here, okay, points to the back leg, but on the same side, then it could be your hooves. Your hooves have an imbalance that's making him toe out. But if you pick up this leg and it points towards the other leg, under the belly and towards the other leg over here, then that horse is crooked. He's out like this, and see if his legs are out like this, and then you pick it up, it's going to point towards the back leg on the opposite side. Do you understand that? So that's a way to test. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I had a horse, I was really trying to straighten out his feet, Then one day, and he was always so hard to trim, you know. Then I realized, oh my gosh, you pick up his leg and it almost point in the other direction, you know. So I learned that the hard way. Okay, I'm going to take this question. Yeah. I thought my mare toed out, but realized it was my trim. Often the eye thinks the hoof is balanced, but when the foot is on the ground, it toes out a little more off the lateral side. I have found usually corrects it, unless you say it's knees or fetlocks. Okay, that's a good answer. Chronic cracks. Pam has a chronic cracks all the way around the hooves on all 4 feet. Usually that is from, you haven't got, well, it happens when the heels are trimmed out. You'll have all these cracks. And it also happens when, if your foot is real splayed out, like look at this one. See those cracks like that, or bigger cracks? Bigger cracks. Okay, well, bigger than that even? Like do they separate? Deep. I would have to see the foot. You know, are they big, deep cracks all the way around or just in certain places? Certain places, not center. Okay. Well, what they can be is stress cracks. Okay? This hoof capsule. Okay, you see the horn tubules here. Well, just a minute and I'll answer that, Rufus. Would beveling help? Okay. My mare gets cracks too on the toe after her clubby foot. Tempting to file out toe, already too short on that foot. Okay. I don't know the reason for every crack, but I know that one reason is this hoof wall is only so thick. It only grows so much hoof wall from the coronary band, and it's meant to be a certain size and a certain consistency. So when the hoof flares, you're going to get cracks. That's one way you're going to get cracks because, okay, it's just like this tape. Okay? It's just like this tape. You know, if I stretch it, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. See? And so the same thing happens with the hoof. As it flares, it's going to get cracks in it. Hairline cracks. Well, and that's what you can see, the hairline cracks on this foot here as it flares towards the bottom. See, up here where the wall is tighter, you see you've got better quality hoof wall up here, but as it spreads out, well, it's thinning that wall, and so that wall is cracking. All right, but that's one reason. Another reason is you have to understand hoof structure. This hoof wall, you know, this isn't one just solid piece. All right, it's formed of hairs like these, okay? These horn tubules right here that grow down like this, they start up here and they grow down like this. Each one is connected to the next one and they all affect each other. If my heel gets pushed forward here, it's just like dominoes. It's going to affect all this. This will be pulled down. That's going to run forward. When that grows forward, it's going to run into these horn tubules that are growing down like this. If they bend, then they're going to affect the ones in front of them. Okay? So what happens is, like you hear of a quarter crack. Okay, so all of these effects. So if this all here gets to grow in here and it grows up here and it shoves up here and this don't want to move, then the wall will crack right here and push forward in front of that right there. So these are stress cracks that happen from the growth getting out of alignment. See, again, this grows here, and this all starts pushing forward and growing like this. Eventually it could get up to here, and if this wall doesn't want to move, it's going to crack right there. Does that kind of help there? Help you understand about cracks a little bit? And Pam says, just messaged you a photo after I started trimming. Forgot to do before pics. She just came for training. How do you dress it? Where did you message it to? Facebook? Okay, well, let me see here. Okay, we're looking at these. Wow. First of all, one thing I see is, you see how this goes up here? Okay, so she's had a lot of jamming in the quarters. You know, I think once a lot of that jamming comes out, and once she gets a heel buttress established, that a lot of these cracks will go away. You know, see that right there? Okay, now the hoof wall grid. That's another thing we're going to learn about, is the hoof wall grid. One thing we're going to learn about is what I call the hoof wall grid. And that is where you read the vertical horn tubules. Now you see that crack. It follows right along the line of the vertical horn tubules. You know, I've even had these in my horse, but not quite this bad. You can see her hoof wall's kind of unhealthy, but I think it's for two reasons. One, this jamming right here in the quarters. See, you can see that, and jamming in the pillar. There's just some imbalance, and she's got some flaring, you know, so she's got some pressure here and there. I think once she gets a consistent trim, this will all grow out, and this jamming will come out. Her foot will get tighter, so that see right here, she's got flaring in the pillar. Once you start doing a really consistent trim on them, what this hoof mapping protocol will really get you consistent, then all this stuff will start straightening up. You know, the growth rings. Can you see the growth rings there, how it rises? It shouldn't do that. See, the growth rings should follow the shape of the internal foot. And so that's one thing. I'll show you a picture here. Okay. Let's see here. Make that a little bigger. So it just stands to reason, doesn't it, that what we see on the capsule has to mimic the shape of the inner foot. See there? And so this is what, you know, you're looking at. If your toes square or comes way out like this, then you know that this part, this pillar, grew out and forward, and so you have to bring it back in. Look here. See that? See, that sure isn't shaped like that, is it? See there? Now, I have a way of beveling these a certain way so that all this will start coming in, like this is pulled out here. Okay, that's going to stretch this wall. This is going to cause cracks. Because again, the hoof wall is only so thick, right? So any stretching at all is going to cause cracking, you know, or separation or something like that. So this shape of this foot, you know, this is why in some of the mapping I have people map the dorsal wall. I have people map the dorsal wall. Yeah, I play around with this stuff a lot. Okay, let's just put a foot in there. Okay, now you see how the corners are not shaped like the inner foot, and every horse's foot is shaped the same. The anatomy is the same, just like our feet are the same. Maybe they're a little different size, but the basic shape is all going to be the same. Okay, so the hoof wall grid, that's your horizontal growth rings that grow down the same shape as the coronary band. Say, so if you have a ring that's going up like this in the side, you know that you've been letting the sides of your toes get too long and it has jammed up and flared out. See there, when everything's tight and connected and right, it's just going to be the same basic shape as the inner foot. Well, you know, except for right here where, you know, it connects to the coronary band, and it would be like this. Okay, see how that big chunk there? That shouldn't be there. But it's something, you know, you'd have to bevel that back. Okay, just like there's a breakover right here in the toe, well, there's a breakover around the whole perimeter of the foot. You know, and just like your toe can get stretched out and long, so can the sides of the toe. And then what'll happen is a lot of time you take the toe back, but you're not taking the sides of the toe in so that the wall can grow down tight and connected and be the correct shape. Okay, so I hope that I'm going to come back to you here. I got this whole new bevel thing that I've been doing, totally based on how the wild horse wears his foot. It is not just making a round thing. It's not like that at all. Okay? That will help you get the toes, the sides of the toe here right. You know, I mean, can you see how these can grow out like this? If you ever noticed, like with the natural balance shoes, that they got big square sides of the toes here? Yes, Debbie, the internal foot is our guide. And see, that's the whole thing. And that's why this is so great, because we're seeing this horse as having a whole foot. You know, they do not see that horse as having a foot. They see it as, this is what they see. They see it as a hoof capsule with a coffin bone. Because, you know, when you look at x-rays, how it is, you just see the outline of the hoof and you see a bone. You don't see, look at all the rest of this. The foot comes clear up here. You know, and this is another thing. You guys need to start thinking about how the foot is not just in the capsule. Okay, the foot, here, just a second. Okay, the foot goes clear up here into the cartilage. Let's see. Okay, I don't know if you can see this because it's dark. But okay, the foot includes all this up here. Okay, we need to start looking at this part as the foot. This is all part of the foot. It's not just what is contained behind this capsule here. It is all of this clear back into here. That's all part of the foot, the whole thing. See, for too long, we've just looked at the hoof capsule, what's behind that, as being the horse's foot. But the horse's foot is all of this whole thing. Like, here's the coronary band here. This wasn't a very good foot. It was kind of beat up when I made a copy of it. Okay? This is the foot here. All of this is the foot. This whole thing in here is the foot. See there? All of this back here, this is all the foot, all of this. See? Again, we just think of the part that's contained in this as the foot. No, it goes above the hairline. All of this up in here is the foot. See? Your short pastern bone connects right here. Here's your digital cushion. These are the rest of your collateral cartilage, goes clear up into here. See? So that's all foot. Just like this is all my finger. Just that part of the fingernail is my fingernail, but, you know, all of that behind it and everything else, that's all the end of my finger. See, same with the horse. Yeah, like a human foot in a ballerina slipper. Let's see. Yeah, the vets, the farriers, that's all they see. Coffin bone, you know, and see, this is here. We'll do it. You know, that's not the foot. What am I always saying? You can't just take that coffin bone and throw it on a table and say, that's the way that foot sits in there. You know what I found? Is that, look at that. How could that sit flat? Okay, do you see the shape of that bone? It's not even built to sit flat. Do you see the shape of it? Okay, if this part was flat, then the toe angles down. See there? They don't look at that. That thing was not meant to sit flat. What you can expect from this course is to gain a knowledge of the anatomy, the true anatomy of the horse's foot in a simplified form that you can get more detailed on as you learn, and you're going to get a system of anatomical mapping that you can practically apply to the foot of any horse to start a process and a system of trimming whereby you can start a process to grow that horse a new foot. And you're going to get a system that will help you trim all the feet consistently. Now, I only have measurements for your standard size saddle horse. So if you got a huge big warm blood, you might have to add 1/4 of an inch. And if you got a little pony, you might have to crank it down a little bit. You know, see, this is the thing. As we all get to applying this method, and it teaches you as you go, what you're going to find is as you do it, it teaches you. It's just the weirdest thing. It's like it has a life of its own. You know, I started doing it. I mean, over years, I learned all these bits and pieces. You know, like first thing I learned was how to take the toe back. My horse's toe got too long doing it just the barefoot way that I learned. And so I learned how to find the true apex of the frog and how to find where the true toe should be. So that is a system that I learned that I applied to get my horse's toe corrected. Then I learned about the sides of the toe, the pillars, how to get those corrected. Then I learned about the bars, how to get my bars anatomically straight and right. Then I learned more about the frog, you know, the central sulcus, how to trim the frog better. Then I learned, you know, that I'd been trimming the heels out of the horse, and I learned a system for restoring the heels. Through all of this, I've been beveling and trying to finish the foot different ways, trying to figure out what was the best way to finish the wall, you know, so that it would retain the sole underneath it or behind it. So you learn all these little things that are behind this mapping system. And so I took all these things that I had learned and I started applying them as a system at every trim, and at every trim it taught me something. And so as you learn to do it, as you apply it, it's going to teach you. I am convinced of that. You know, and then I learned the thing too about measuring the dorsal walls. Like on the sides here, they need to be at least 1/4 inch shorter than in the center. Just like well, that picture. See how there's less space? Just a minute here. Okay, there's one distance from here down to here, but it's a different distance from here to here. See that? See how that's shorter? So consequently, it should be shorter here too, right? It's got to follow the shape of that inner foot. Okay, so that was another part of the mapping. That's another, all of this is anatomical mapping of that hoof capsule. It isn't exact. Let me explain something here. Okay, this is not exact. These are general anatomical measurements that you can apply that will help get you in the general vicinity of getting this thing shaped like your horse's foot. This horse never got trimmed maybe 2 or 3 times his whole life. He was blind and they had to put him down because there was nobody to take care of him. But yeah, look, his heels are run forward. You know what? But his heels are the right length. He maintained his foot pretty well for living in Kansas sod, you know. So the measurements you get are general. They're not exact. And, but they have done enough study on horses' feet, you know, that I can give you general measurements that will get you in the general vicinity. And then as you apply the trim, as you learn the anatomy, then you are going to learn, because your brain will just go to work on this, you are going to learn how to adjust that trim for your horse's specific foot size. The foot will show you. That is what I have been seeing with this anyway. So again, so see, it's not cookie cutter. Oh yeah, just, you know, this measurement, that measurement. No, but see, they have researched these feet enough. Why do you think they're able to make boots a certain size for you? You know, because horses' feet, like human feet, you know, if we weren't able to kind of get a general idea of the size of things, they wouldn't be able to build shoes or boots for us, nor boots or shoes for these horses. See? You know, most of these horses, your general saddle horse, from right here at the apex of the frog, where am I at here? Right here at the apex of the frog to the end of the sulcorium. See, now it's a certain distance from here to the end of the coffin bone, but then you have sulcorium that's at least 1/4 of an inch thick beyond that. And then you have to have 1/2 an inch of sole, which is another 1/2 an inch beyond that. So that pretty much gives you some room to play with on these feet to figure out, well, is my horse's foot going to be a little bigger or a little smaller or about the same size? Hey, see there, that's why you got to find the true apex of the frog is very important. Okay, because these frogs can get stretched clear to here. All right? And things like that. So you find your true apex of the frog, and that tells you about where your sole corium ends, and then about, you know, you got to grow some sole. So that's why I put it at 1.5 inches, which is up there. Let's see. Let's take a look. Okay. Okay. That's about what that's going to be. See, right here, the true apex of the frog is going to be right about in here. So if I go right about here, you see this line here? See, I'm missing my toe pretty good, aren't I? See there? You know, so again, if it needs to be a little longer, you're going to find out that horse, plus you're learning to read the sole ridge as well. This ridge around the sole. Okay? Now this wall is just a retaining wall. And so the object of what we're wanting to do here is we're wanting to get this wall shaped like the inner foot this way, and the right height this way here. And then what this wall does, this wall can only bear some weight with the sole. It was never meant to bear weight alone, and neither was the sole. And so what this wall mainly does is it comes in and it brings everything in correct so that the sole is retained and supported, and then you can grow this sole ridge around the foot, and the wall is supporting it in here. Okay, so the wall retains the sole here. And another thing you'll learn is about, let's see, okay. You see this coffin bone here? Okay, do you see, I don't know if you can see it, but the lamina is dried on there. Can you kind of see the lines in the lamina? Can anybody see that? Okay, now let me try and explain this. Here's the coronary band. Coronary band lays right here, along there. See that? Now, it's got a little pap there that feeds a horn tubule that's like a hair, okay, and different things like that. And they grow down and they connect to the lamina right here. And the pap on the coronary band that feeds the tubule connects here and grows down right here to where it connects with the sole, and then they grow down together. Now, these horn tubules that start here and end here are there for the life of that horse. It's supposed to be a certain angle. It starts here, it grows down to here. See that? Okay, when the walls get run forward like this, see how forward that is run? See these walls here should be up like that. Okay, but instead they are, this hoof should be up like this, and this hairline should be up more like this. See, it would come up like this and be supported, but it's all run forward. Okay, so now hold that thought. Okay, so this hoof wall grows down, connected to the lamina, and joins up with a specific piece of sole that grows right here. And then they too marry up and they grow down at the same angle together. And that is what gives you the proper thickness of sole under the foot. But when this piece of wall here that should be growing at a certain angle and joining up with the sole here and then growing to the ground, when this piece of wall gets shoved forward like that, well, it totally destroys how your sole is supposed to grow. And so you can't get any thickness of sole until you get this horn tubule back into alignment and bring it back over here so that the sole can grow with it again to the same thickness to the ground. Because, you know, your sole, your wall grows down like this. It marries up with the sole right here. And then they grow down together. Now, the sole can only grow so long before it dies and exfoliates. Okay? So, let's say this is your wall, and this is how long the sole is. Okay? If the sole tubules are growing like that, you see how they're not as thick? See, if my wall here takes that tubule of sole on the sole rim right here. See, now this horse didn't have a shoved forward foot like that, and so she had a pretty good thickness of sole here. This horse had super thin, paper thin sole because the walls and the heel had collapsed and shoved everything forward, and so it changed the way the sole ridge grew around the foot. I mean, do you understand that concept that if something is this long from here to here, okay? Let's say that represents your sole. Okay, if I start changing the angle of it, it's going to get less deep, right? Okay, if I take this, here, let's do it this way. Let's make something 1 inch long right here. Okay, now if I change the angle of that, I'm going to change the angle of that. Okay, now how thick is it? You see how changing the angle makes it less thick? Okay, now, if I really change it, okay, now, how thick is it? See how that changes the thickness of your sole? If the wall here that grows down and connects to the sole, if the angle of the wall changes, the angle of the sole changes where it's connected to right here. And so the sole cannot grow as straight as it normally would. It changes the angle, so it thins out the sole. So you can't get any thickness of sole in here when your walls are run forward or you have no heels. This has the same effect almost as trimming out the heels. When the whole foot collapses forward like this, not as bad, for sure, but mechanically there are some similarities because when you trim out the heels, it changes the hairline. This hairline should be up like this, see, like that. And then all this horn tubule here and stuff should be standing up here. That would bring all this sole tubules. See, you can even see them. You can see that they're aimed forward like that instead of standing up straighter so that the sole would be thicker. Okay. So, okay, good. People are understanding that. My work here is not done, but cool. All right. Yes, would cause flat feet, for sure. See how you have got to understand this stuff. You know, see, besides the hoof mapping system, which will get you in the general vicinity of the size of the foot, you have to understand how the foot works mechanically. And then your brain will take all that information, and when you're dealing with these feet, you'll know what you're looking at, and you'll know why a horse's foot is a certain way. Well, this is wonderful. See, man, I have just wanted to be able to share this with people for so long, and I've been sharing it with individuals, but I wanted to share it with a group. Okay, no, the way you tell where the pillars are is like this. Not a very good one. When you map the foot, I'm gonna show you how to find the true apex of the frog. When you map the foot, I'll just show you here. You're going to draw a line. The reason you got to use this protractor, okay, is so that you can get your toe centered, because your eyes will screw up all the time, and then you wind up trimming your foot unsquare and to the side and changing the whole foot. So even with this, it's hard sometimes to get straight. So you're going to come in and you're going to find the true apex of the frog. Then you're going to measure 1.5 inches right there. Then you see these lines, you put these lines, you can color code your little thing here so you can see stuff easier. And you're going to put your lines on here. And you're going to come up here You're going to draw a line straight across the toe. Now, at the apex of the frog, now you want to know where the pillars are? Right here. These are called the toe quarters. Right here, this area. That's how you find the pillars on any horse. From here to here. Now, then I come back here. Another 1.5 inches right to here. Look, that's right where the bars end. However, I can get this on here. Okay, these are your pillars. These are your quarters. And here's your heel. And this is your toe. Right there. And so you always know where the pillars are from here. It's this whole area, the whole sides of the toe. Does that make sense? And see, here's another thing. You know, we always thought the heel was this little part here. No, this whole area is the heel, including all of this wall here. See? All of this is the heel. Then your quarter. Then your pillars. Right here, the whole turn of the toe. The toe is just right there. Okay, so this is the mapping for every foot, front, back. It don't matter. Okay? And so what I'll come in, and I always take the toe back to the same spot. See? That helps consistency. And then I have a certain way, I have a certain way to bevel this, a different way to bevel this, and a different thing I do here. I don't just make a rounded wall like so, you know, like so. Oh, thank you, Rufus. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is going to help people too. I'm really excited. What I'm trying to do is simplify this and get it explained to you. My favorite quote by Einstein is that one where he says, if you can't explain it simply, how is it? Anyway, if you can't explain it simply, you just don't know it well enough. So I'm trying to explain this simple. Well, great, Bonnie. It can get kind of complicated. I mean, it's simple. You know, if I had a beer can or a pop can and a koozie, it really is that simple to a point, you know. At the same time, it can be very complicated too. When it comes to hoof distortion and feet rotating, that's when it gets really complicated. Oh yeah, me too. I learned from watching others too, Marcy. You know, you always got to stay open to learn. But what I'm hoping this will do is lay a basic foundation. You know, this stuff that I'm showing you is foundational. And the heel buttress being specific and supporting the whole hoof, that is absolutely foundational. There's no way around this stuff, you know, and this trimming, you know, I mean, I don't know about you, but have you ever heard somebody say, oh, well, you know, it's good for this person, however this person does it, or however that person does it, or whatever. No, anatomy isn't that way. You wouldn't want a doctor operating on your heart that way, right? Can I send you 2 pictures regarding changes in sole thickness? Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, you could send it email, or you could put it on Facebook, Susie. That'd be good to see. See, everybody here is going to have examples. Everybody here is going to have input. Everybody here is going to be able to, you know, I'm always finding people that can explain things better than I could. You know, after they learn it and they do that, they'll say something about it, and I'll go, gee, I wish I could have said that like that. Okay, yeah, Susie, send them email. That'd be wonderful. Do you have my email address? Okay, well, it is yahoo.com. That's me. And also, if anybody ever wants to call me and talk to me, you're sure welcome to do that. There you go. All right. Hey, I'm going to sign off. Oh, me too, Pam. I'm really excited. And I loved everybody's stories. They were just wonderful. Well, minus the tragedy that we've all gone through. The commitment and the heart of people to love their horses. And that is what has been taken advantage of here. Maybe we can all help other people and do something to change what is going on. I think so. Okay, hey, everybody have a great night. God bless you. Love you all. Have a wonderful night. See you Saturday. You're sure welcome.